When I think of Australia, I think of a land of opportunity and achievement. And if we can disregard this unfortunate pandemic for the time being, and just think and talk about Australia and Australians, I would like to just wish all Australians a very happy day, and we hope that we will always remember the 26th of January. I would like to say to all Australians, rejoice and be glad, for we are privileged to live in such a great and free country. However, I think it would be remiss of me if I didn't pay tribute to Captain Cook, Captain Phillip and Matthew Flinders. Captain Cook for the charter of the east coast of our new country, raising the flag on Possession Island and possessing the land in the name of King George III in 1770. To Captain Phillip for bringing the first fleet to Botany Bay. That bay he considered unsuitable and settled a little further north, the Sydney Cove, the harbour he described as the best in the world. And it would be here that the compliment had disembarked, and he decided, I beg your pardon, it was here that it was a friendly establishment, and the life on settlement of the Europeans began. I must say tribute to Captain Flinders because he had a great part in telling us and making this continent, this southern continent, the name Australia. Over the years that followed, explorers and pioneers moved west, opening up areas of land suitable for grazing and later cropping. The names of two men will be especially remembered. John MacArthur for the contribution he made to the merino sheep and wool industry. To William Farrer for the contribution he made to the wheat industry, breeding, selecting, trialling varieties to suit Australian conditions. These two industries carried the Australian economy for many years, and from east to west Australia are still performing well today. Unfortunately, mistakes have been made, but they have been acknowledged, and a former Prime Minister apologised to the first Australian people. Now much has been done and is still being done to rectify the relationships. We all live in Australia, hence I think we should move together to benefit Australia, remembering always, united we stand and divided we fall. And I think it is better to look forward with anticipation rather than backward with concern. Australia itself offers so much for holiday makers and tourists, if your choice suits the season. The tropical north of Queensland, the Barron Falls, the Great Barrier Reef, and moving south, the holiday islands on the coast from Cairns and Townsville, the Gold Coast, and Sydney great beaches, and the harbour, displaying the harbour bridge and the Opera House. And moving west, tour the Blue Mountains and experience the caves. And then go on to the snowfields, the playground at Kosciuszko, for a quieter and greener and a touch of England. Tasmania is there to see and to enjoy. From Brisbane to Perth, the capital cities have sporting stadiums and race courses equal to the best, if not the best in the world. The garden city of Melbourne is at its blooming best, hosting the Melbourne Cup at Flemington on the first Tuesday in November. And travelling through the festival state of South Australia and on the Nullarbor Plains, there is still caves to explore. The southwest corner of Western Australia there is the old whaling centre at Albany, the giant forest trees, the jarrah and the carry, soaring high to at least 100 metres. If you travel north to the lighter and more open country in the springtime, there you will see nature's unattended garden at its beautiful best, the great Western Australian wildflowers. Up to the north further is the sights in the Pilbara and the magic of Kakadu. And to top it off, there was always the red scent of the sea. I did mention the Australian great sporting grounds. Well, Australia has produced some of the great sporting athletes the world has ever seen. And we can never forget the unforgettable Don Bradman. And in view of the Australian Open tennis champion soon to be started, it is fitting to remember the first Australian Wimbledon champion, Sir Norman Brooks, the first left-hander to do so. And in later years we had players such as Rod Laver, Frank Sedgman and Ken Rosewell, not only great champions, but their sportsmanship left nothing to be desired. There was no smashing of rackets or storming up to the umpire screaming, "You can't be serious." Now the women's champion of champions, Margaret Smith, and the darling of Australian women tennis, Yvonne Goolagong. Australia has been so strong in swimming. Just to mention a few, Murray Rose, Ian Thorpe, Dawn Fraser and Shane Gould, and many others have won gold for Australia in both individual and team events. In the track and field we have Ron Clark, John Landy, Robert D. Costello, and the brilliant Betty Cuthbert, Marjorie Jackson and Kathy Freeman. And we shall never forget the yachting crew who wrested the American Cup from the Americans for Australia. The gallant young Jessica Watson, who sailed around the world on her own at the tender age of 16. I believe that is courage and skill personified. And I have briefly mentioned some of the sporting heroes. However, there are many thousands of heroes in Australia whose name we will never know or never see. And I refer to the people who volunteer. There are thousands in Australia, and these people we never know or hear about, and I refer to them because you'll find them in homes and hospitals, in schools, in show societies, swimming clubs, riding for the disabled, courage on helpers, museums, bushfire brigades, flood and storm clean-up teams, and fodder carriers for carrying fodder for the stock in drought-stricken areas. In all walks of life, Australia's volunteers are there to help, and I have to say that I don't think Australia would be what it is today had it not been for so many volunteers. And Australia can only say thank you to each and every one. I would like to take you on just a little trip within 100 miles of Temora because it's fairly local to all of us. We think about Temora in the early stages, and the flame was lit when the discovery of gold was made in Temora. And through the success of others, Temora, the flame is red again. And I refer to the combination of man and beast, that is pale-face adios and cold pipe. And the statue in the park is a testimony to the esteem in which they are held. But that is not all. Just further on the road we come to a place called Area Park. And at the top of the Coolman Street, at the railway crossing, there we see the railway truck that carried the first load of wheat, bulk, from the country to the city. to the port. And just over the road in the main street, there stands a monument to the Lumpers Monument, that we remember those men who worked so hard to stack so many thousands of tonnes of wheat in railway yards wherever wheat was delivered. Then we come to Marul, this very small little place, but it has a very important day. Their sporting day, and they call it the silo kick. And there we see the best football kickers try to their skills to kicking the football over the silo. The next town is Ardlethan, and they proudly claim it to be the home of the best working sheepdog, the Kelpie. And there is a statue there to recognise it. The Ardlethan tin mines provided work for many people during its working life. And 20 miles further on, we come in touch with Borellan, and there the giant tennis racket is displayed to honour the dual Wimbledon champion, the girl who lived and learned to play tennis in Borellan, Yvonne Goolagong. And on the end of the road, we come to the Murrumbidgee irrigation area, the great feed bowl of New South Wales, especially growing rice, also corn, wheat and other grains, and cotton also as well now, and the large orange orchards, the fruit and vegetable places, many vineyards providing grapes for the makers of fine wine. And I am not in a position to give any advice, nor have I got the knowledge to do it. But my thoughts on this Australia Day are simple and sincere. I believe that we should remain steadfast in our faith in Australia. We should strengthen our discipline and make every effort to regain the respect we once had for authority and the property of others. I would like to wish you all a very happy and a thoughtful Australian Day, a safe journey to your respective homes wherever they might be. And I thank God I was born Australian and that I had the honour of serving Australia. And in my twilight years, I can live safely under our great Australian flag. Thank you.